Thank you for coming in today to do this. I really appreciate it. Can you tell me who you are and what your role is here?
I am Ozzie Hunter, better known as the Wizard of Oz, a salesperson here since January 18th, 1982. Actually, in 10 more days, 12 more days, it'll be here 42 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know I don't look 62, but I
Not
am.
at all.
Right.
Not at all. And how did you come to be here?
I just happened, well, it all started when I was born with my parents.
Mm.
My mother was a very fashionable woman, and so was my father. I didn't know that until I got older, and I'll explain that. In my father's closet when I was 5 or 6 years old, I used to see his clothing like white shirts pressed neat, pants straight, and at the bottom were shoes. So I would sometimes put them on without him knowing. Fast forward to getting older and starting here at work, I noticed a name, Bally, and my father's shoes were all Bally's. So the sense of style and clothing was put into me, and I didn't even know that. And my beautiful mother, who just passed last year, never left her house without makeup on, always well dressed, and that instilled me to come here.
So, did you grow up here in New Orleans?
Yes, native New Orleanian, born and raised. Yes.
And had you heard about Rubenstein's before you
Oh
worked
yeah,
coming to Orleans?
I did, but in my high school years at St. Aug, and St. Aug again was another place. At that time, we weren't in uniforms. You had to go to school in a shirt, a tie, and dress clothes. So that also prepared me for working here too, because they prepared you for what you did after you got out of high school.
Yeah.
Right.
So, do you remember what your sense of Rubenstein's was before you came here?
No, I just heard it was just a fashionable store, and coming downtown with my grandmother shopping back in the days. We were talking about '70s, and looking around, and I happened to see the store, walked in. But so again, I grew up in a household that was very fashionable and knew about clothing, and always kept us. My mother kept us very neat, and even to my grandmother it was the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
And you grew up nearby, uh, physically nearby downtown?
No, no, I grew up in the Seventh Ward, which is by
Okay.
St. Aug. Yeah,
So,
some
no,
people.
closer to school.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, were you always you talked about always being interested in fashion, but were you
Hmm.
always interested in retail? Did you know you wanted to?
No, actually, that was not even my studies at Xavier. I was in computer science. Now, how to computer science? Hello.
That's what my dad was.
How does computer science equate to clothing? But that started out prior to me coming here. I used to work at the Plaza. I used to work at All American Jeans.
Was that the first place you worked?
Well, yes and no.
Okay, sorry.
Actually, I always tell this story. My good friend, he's a movie star. He lives here, Wendell Pierce. Wendell Pierce and I worked at Popeyes on Dalman Road. And how I got to work there, I was on the bus, and I told my mother, I said, you know what, Ma, we have this big end of the year. What do you call it? What do you call the thing where you go on a trip? Where you go on your trip, your senior trip.
Okay.
And she said, boy, go get a job. So what I did, I saw a sign that said hiring. So I got off the streetcar and they hired me like the next day. So when I walked home and told my mom that, she said, boy, what did you do? You're not working there. You got to use school. Because the mother's very strict about work and how long I'm working. So, but she went there and she said, no, you can't. You have to work here. You got to do this, do that. She was telling them what I needed to do. So to make sure. But anyway, that was my first job. Me and Wendell Pierce worked at Popeyes on Diamond Road.
Oh, that's great.
Now, how I got into that, after I left Popeyes, I went to the Plaza.
Oh,
And that's working at, I think, Merry-Go-Round or something. No, All American Jeans, and then another shoe store. I can't remember all the names of it, about four. And then that's when I knew I wanted to be in clothing, when I started
that's
working at the
interesting.
Plaza. The Plaza opened in 1975, and we moved out to New Orleans East in 1977. So
I
I would
was
say,
going to ask why you were all the way out there when you were
yeah, we
living
moved.
over in the
Yeah,
Seventh
my
Ward, but
mom, my
y'all.
mom moved out in New Orleans East in 1977, 2 years after the Plaza opened.
Gotcha.
And of course, going to the Plaza with my mom, on weekends, clothing is all around you,
Yeah.
and that's another way I did that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you started at All American Jeans. I mean, in the Plaza, you
Yes.
started at All American Jeans.
Yes.
And Can you tell us, because we haven't had a lot of folks talk to us about All American Jeans,
Yes.
what the sense of it was and what it was?
Well, I'd never seen a store like that before. It was just so much jeans. I mean, you walk in, I want this type of jean, this type of jean, and it was just so fun. Yeah, yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Was selling an easy, I know the answer to this, but was it easy for you to sell?
Well, let me take a guess. Yes. Yes, it was. I really enjoyed it. Yes.
Did they train you at All American Jeans the way you get training at Rubenstein's? Is it the same
No, it was a
program?
little different because here's clothing and shoes and it's different aspects. There was mostly just jeans, greet the customer, bring them to the dressing room, watch them and stuff like that. Yeah.
Plus it's women too. So.
Right. Yes, I did work with Michelle, bless her soul.
Sorry, I meant women shoppers.
Right. Yeah. Right. No, I remember Michelle. She was there.
She was there.
Yeah,
She was.
I remember her. Yeah.
So you were at All American Jeans, then you were at another shoe store?
Store there. I think I worked at maybe 2 or 3 other stores in the plaza, and then I guess one day I just happened to be walking down the street, and it was Friday, and I think Reggie, he's the one who I talked to. It was no, I'm sorry, not Reggie. No, yeah, I'm sorry, not Reggie. Morris Jones. And then I was hired like the next day. So the next day would have been a Monday. So he told me to come in Monday.
Here downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it was
that's
it was
more
a
of
Friday.
haul. Yeah,
Huh?
that's more of a haul. So,
Right.
were you concerned about about commuting to downtown, or were you?
No, because at that time transportation was very easy. I mean, I only had to take one. At that time, I didn't have a car. I'd take one bus,
Right.
and it let me off right by the Sanger.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And what about so you moved from jeans to clothing?
Mm-hmm.
Were you familiar with clothing? Was that a learning curve for you?
No, that's the household that I was brought up in. My mother was always well dressed, all the time, and so I knew how I would feel,
Were you wearing? You were in a younger generation. You were working at a jeans store. So
Right.
did you have any clothing? Any suit clothing? I don't mean.
Well, not as
At
much
the
as I have
time.
to. Yeah, 1 or 2 pieces,
Right.
Yeah, 1 or 2 pieces, but maybe from what's the prom or something like
Right.
that. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
So you got to buy
Yeah.
some new things.
Yes.
So I assume you went through the training program here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember it at all?
Not really.
Yeah, I mean,
I know I have a very good memory. I can remember a lot of things, but some things I don't remember. Like I said, I know Morris Jones. He's the one who hired me, and Reggie at the time was my manager. I do remember that. Yeah.
so you worked at a number of retail places before
Yes.
this. Is there anything that you can identify that was notable about the way Rubenstein's saw itself and the way it taught you to sell?
Well,
and deal?
all those other places were department stores. This is a totally different entity. This is a family-owned business. So there's much more attention paid to detail, to customer service. There's much more family-oriented thing versus a retail store. Yeah.
Can you think of an example of how it would have been done how it was done differently here versus somewhere else? An example of that kind of detail?
Let's see. Again, I'm going 42 years ago.
You can think of an example now if you want.
Yeah.
What does that mean that it's a place that pays attention to detail?
Well, like I said, it's a family-oriented business. So to me, a family person pays attention more than a person or people rather. It's more of a, what do you call it? It's all around the country. This is just a one-store family-owned business, so it's a little more intimate.
So what does that look like when you're selling to somebody? What does that mean?
It looks like you care, and I care.
Yeah.
Yes, and I consider myself an artist. And what an artist does, he looks at the picture and he paints a picture, and that's what I do when I sell. I love selling. Not enjoy it. I love it. I love what I do because everyone says, Ozzie, why have you been here that long? Nobody's been here 42 years. I said, well, I love what I do. Not like what I do. I love what I do.
What do you love about it?
Well, again, an artist. I like putting things together, making people happy, maybe putting my stamp on it and say, "Oh, Ozzie did that. He sold me this. Oh, I was on TV and everybody said." That really makes my day.
Do you have some customers who've been with you a long time?
Oh yeah, 30 years easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Solid sleeve, famous poster. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody's doing something outside.
I know.
Watch it.
Don't they know we're doing things in here?
Don't. I'll get up and scream.
So, people have talked, so a lot of folks have talked about how it's different here because it's a family business.
Yes.
Sorry, we're pausing when I came. Yes, Ozzie about Alan Tucson?
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
I will.
Do that.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of pictures of.
Excellent.
We do.
Thank you.
We do.
So,
Uh-huh.
with that really useful
Introduction.
tip, that's right.
Well,
You should tell me
Alan was
more
a,
about Alan
a
Toussaint.
fun, joyful person. I inherited Alan from Mark Rodriguez when Mark Rodriguez left to go to Denver. And Alan and I became very, very close. And he loved Robert Graham clothing. He was another person like my mother, always dressed. When he came into the store, he was always in a suit, very well dressed, very well mannered and respectful. And I enjoyed working with him. He was very even keeled, very nice guy. And one day he walked in and said, "I need some suits," and he picked out this red, green, and purple. I said, "Oh my God, who's going to wear that?" But I said, "Forgot."
One suit that had all those
No,
colors? So
three different suits, and they were all by Brioni, and each suit was $10,000 a piece. I said, "Oh my God!" And he got so many compliments, but it wasn't. And I have this saying: "It's not the coat that looks good; it's you. You're the one that makes that look good." Well, okay, I did. Okay, I put it together. Sorry, but anyway, but no, it's always the person who makes the clothing look good. But anyway, getting back to Alan. Alan was a very, very good soul. And I was asked to sing at one of his, what is this? Not productions. One of his friends put on this thing. He flew me out to Houston, Texas, for one of this tennis players. I forgot her name. Famous tennis player, but back in the '80s.
Steffi Graf.
No, this black girl.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, '80s. Oh shoot, I know it's gonna come to me. But anyway, he wanted me to sing at his event, and I did, and I was so happy to do that. And
How did
actually,
you know you could sing?
because I told him.
Ah,
Actually, I can. I mean,
I'm sure you can.
actually, if you hear me sing, you probably say, "Ozzie, why are you here? Why are you at Rubenstein Brothers?"
no, I'm sure you can.
Yes.
Because he invited you. I just
Yes.
didn't know how he came to know you could
Yes.
sing.
Yes.
So you told him, did he ever come listen?
Who?
Mr. Toussaint.
Oh no, I'm talking about This is I'm talking about Alan's funeral. Alan was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, the person who's putting on this show asked me to come. There was like a ceremony for Alan in Houston,
I'm sorry.
and he asked me to come and do it. Yeah. But technically, Alan did know that because I did show him a picture of me doing that. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, that's
And I actually wore a shirt that he returned for some reason, but I bought it and I wanted to wear it,
yeah.
and I did.
That's really lovely.
Yeah.
That's really lovely. Yeah, so it sounds like you don't just serve the customers as a salesman, but a number of them you get to know on a personal basis.
Right, and also to entertain them as well. Right, absolutely.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. Have you had some other notable customers that you want to talk about?
Oh, Lord, where's the list go? Red Fox, I don't know if you know that name, Red Fox. I waited on him before.
James Conner told a story about him too.
Okay, who else? Luther Vandross came in. I waited on him. Vanessa Williams, the first black Miss USA. Oh, so many people. Jermaine Jackson from the Jackson 5. I got to talk to and wait on Liberace. He's the one who signed his name. I don't know if they have this wall, but they had this wall of signatures of all of the stars that signed. I think I'm at the David or Andre. Where's that at? But he signed his name as a candelabra on the wall. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And then my dear friend Sam Freeman, who just passed, he owned he owned the Roosevelt Hotel, and he died recently. He was one of my good friends. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what do you, is working here what you imagined it would be when you started, or has it?
No, I didn't know what it imagined. I was looking for at the time is clothing and to be in a job. That's what it was, a job at that time.
Mhm.
But as it has evolved, it's a career. Now it's something that I love to do. I didn't know what I was getting into because I never really was into this type of business before, except for retail in what do you call it, department stores. But I evolved into something that I hope other people are proud of, because I put my 110th best into what I do.
So, why do you think somebody should spend $1,500 on a suit when they can get another blue suit for $300?
Because I said so.
I don't think they buy it because of that.
Oh, you should be surprised. Well, no, it's different. A $300 suit versus a $1,500. Obviously, there's a difference. And first is going to be the manufacturer, the fabric. The fabric is what really dictates the price of a garment.
But beyond the fact that the suits are different, because they are different,
Sure.
of course. But why should you spend that kind of money on a piece of clothing?
Well, if that's what you want to do, you should be able to do what you want to do. But when you put the clothing on a person, you immediately going to tell a difference between a $300 suit or a $1,500 suit. And a lot of sometimes when people buy clothing, they're buying things because their friends have said, "Oh, I bought this suit, a $2,000 suit at Rubenstein Brothers. I got to see what that looks like," and they'll come and try it on, and they'll see what it's about. Like Brioni, Brioni's the same thing. That's the finest garment you can wear in the world. And when you put that on versus don't get me wrong, a $5,000 suit is not for everybody, but it's for somebody, and you got to keep doing that until you find that one person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And why does it matter what you look like?
Oh, it always has to matter what you look like, because that's what the other person is going to see when you walk in. Like myself, I always put myself together. Now, there's certain things in clothing that, for me, I won't wear. But like you have casual days, I just can't do that. I have to wear a suit, a tie every day. That's the way I was raised. That's the way I was brought up. It's
What
that
does
first
that mean?
impression.
Right. Sorry, I was going to say, so what does that mean when you put those things on? What is it you are communicating about yourself that you want people to know?
Well, when the person see me, they're gonna say, "Oh, this guy's well dressed. Where did you get that from?" And immediately I say, "Rubenstein Brothers." I say, "Do you shop there?" And they tell me, "No." Well, you need to come and see. Yeah, because I get that all the time. I get that when I'm on a streetcar. It's like I'm one of the only two people dressed like this every day, and all the ladies say, "Oh, I love that tie," and then I make a joke. It's not the tie woman, it's me. So I say, listen, uh, I thank you. And sometimes I make a joke. I said, "This is work clothing." I said, but I understand what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But over 42 years, I've learned, to take things a little more joyful. Like I said, this is work clothing. I've been doing this for 42 years. And when I go on my cruises, I bring nothing like this. I can't because it reminds me too much of work. Not as a bad thing in a bad way. I want to be in flip-flops and T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, sorry.
That's okay.
Just for a moment, I'm just picturing you in flip-flops and T-shirts.
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
sure I can get there.
Yes, yeah. Well, because you see me like this all the time.
Exactly.
Because it's so funny because people, when they see me.
Are you a different, do you feel like a different person when you're wearing flip-flops and a T-shirt? Does it change the way you?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't feel so wrapped up like a mummy. Yeah, but no, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Feel a little freer.
Right, exactly.
Clothing will do that.
That it does. But I'm so used to doing this every day for 42 years, so to me it's like nothing to put it on. And people say, "Oh my God, you look so great." And to myself say, "Really?" I said, "It's work clothing."
Do you think that there is a Rubenstein's customer?
Of course there is.
Who do you think that is?
Everybody who walks through that door is a Rubenstein customer. And we as salespeople have to make that. Not make that, but let them know what's the store's about, and then put your spiel on as far as clothing.
So what do you think the store's about?
Well, in the beginning, I said the store's about first of all service, dedication, and that's what they do. They're very dedicated to their customers and service.
So have you ever done anything extra for a customer?
Yes and no. Like what? Bringing things out to. I bought some things to the car sometimes. When James wasn't here. What else? See if I can get some clothing that they need right away. I'll go to David or Andre Kenny. The customer needs something, ASAP. And they're very good about that. If the customer needs something, like this past weekend was the governor's ball or something, and the customers came in obviously the last second, needed a tuxedo, so they were able to send some things out to another tailor to get. But getting back to me, what you're asking me, have I done anything? Yes, I've done things over the years. Yes, I have.
What is one of the, is there anything you've done, any story you have of a time when you were surprised, either by a policy, by a person, or?
Nothing can come to mind right now. I would have to think
That's
about
fine.
that for a moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just looking for stories.
Yeah, I understand.
And tell me about some of the people you've worked with over the years. Who's been important to you?
In working here?
Yeah.
Well, but like the names that I put right here, and I have them in order.
Well, you have to say them, because.
Well, first of all, I have my mom.
Yeah.
Then I have God. Then I have David, Andre, Kenny, and Nikki.
So how have they been important?
Well, because as I said earlier,
Talk about your mom
it's.
Sorry, please continue.
No, I was just saying all of these people, well, God, not a people, but have had some type of major influence, in my life. It started with my beautiful mother. She said, Ozzie, when you do something, do it right. Always show up to work, and I have. I mean, even when she was in the hospital all last year, I felt guilty of not being able to leave work to go be with her, and I only missed one day. And that was the day of her funeral. I was back at work the next day.
Oh, I thought you meant you only missed one day of being with her.
No.
You only missed one day of work.
Right. So I've only missed one day because that's how dedicated that I am to this store.
I know I've asked this a couple of times, but I keep going back to it.
Sure.
Why, I think for many people they would say, why did you only miss one day? Like, this is a retail store, this is clothing, you're not a cardiac surgeon.
Right.
Why was this important? What is the importance of being here?
But as I just told you, what she told me, always show up for work. Let them know that you are dedicated. And that's what I've shown, that I'm a dedicated person for 42 years. I can't remember the last time ever I've called in sick, maybe 6 years ago when I was in a hospital or something. Yeah.
And what do you think that dedication, do you feel it's mirrored, recognized, understood?
From?
Here.
Oh, I'm sure they know. They have records. Yeah, because my mother, her work ethic was the same way. She never missed work either. And that instilled that into me. She said, always show up for work.
Are there any folks who've come through here that you feel you nurtured, that you feel a pride in where they've gone?
As far as salespeople?
Or anyone. I mean, I don't know who you feel you've been nurturing along. It may be salespeople because you're a salesperson.
No, I don't think I've nurtured anybody, no.
Okay.
Except myself.
Yeah. That's a good person
Yes.
to nurture. Got to put your own
Absolutely.
oxygen mask on first.
Absolutely.
Are there any stories that you feel, I don't want to end without getting any pieces that you want to be sure and share?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of everything because, like I said, you would think at 42 years that I would be here for another 3 hours or so. But
Well, I'm sure you could be.
Right.
And I'm happy to be here with you, but I don't know whether, I'm interested in whether anything has changed over that time, either your feelings about the store or your understanding of fashion or, you know,
Well,
when you've had to adapt to some styles where you're like, I was really committed to.
Well, fashion is always going to evolve in clothing, you know, because things that were in the 60s are now back. We're back in the 2000s with the skinny suit, but you have to evolve with that, and you have to always be open-minded to learn new things. And I'm open-minded to learning new things. Yeah, some things I'm good at, some things I'm not good at. But the things that I'm good at, I excel at. And I'm not going to force myself to do something that I'm uncomfortable doing.
Mhm.
Right.
So, do you think of yourself as someone who's comfortable with innovation and change?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think that's been an important part of your career, of being here for 42 years?
Absolutely one of the most important. But the most important thing is loving what I do.
Mhm.
If I didn't love what I do, I wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't look at it as a as a job. To me, this is not a job. To me, this is a career. Yeah.
There have been over the years, Saks opening is one thing that comes
Mhm.
up a lot. But there
Okay.
are some other specialty
Yes.
stores
Yes.
in town where people have been um, made offers to go elsewhere.
Sure.
Did you, if you're comfortable talking about this,
Of course.
did you ever encounter that decision?
Many times. Not decision, but many people have come to me and said, Ozzie, I want you to come to work at my company. You are so good. And you could sell water to Eskimo. And I laugh. I said, well, I'm expensive, okay? And he started laughing. But I've been approached so many times. But
So why haven't you gone?
let me finish.
Yes, sir.
But why haven't I gone? Because I'm going to keep saying what I've always reiterated. I love what I do. And those other places, like, you know, Saks or whatever, those to me are department stores. This is a family oriented business that dedicates their time, money to customers. And that's what I'm about. Yes, I'm not about a fast dollar. Yeah, I could have went to Saks and made another 20. I could have went here and there. It's not about the money. It's about where I'm happy at, is what I feel in my heart. And that's why I stayed. I have been approached many times, not just for clothing, for coming to work at a car dealership, a hotel. I want you to come do this. I'll fly. No, I did not want to do that.
So for people who are watching this,
Uh-huh.
who aren't able to experience Rubenstein,
Sure.
can you describe? I know I'm just trying to get this another way. What do you mean when you say, "I wouldn't leave because this is a family-oriented business"?
Uh-huh.
What is different about selling? What does that mean in terms of the way you sell or the way you are here?
Because I think family-owned business, I can't speak for every business, they pay more attention to the customer, their employees, and then just the business itself.
So what would that look like in a sale or in an experience? Can you give an example of how that looks different when you're selling?
Well, when you have the two owners coming in the store every day, that says something there. David, I think, is 85. Andre is 86. I'm good with numbers. But anyway, so when you have those two people in the store every day, just that alone says something right there that they're dedicated to this business. And then there's Kenny and Allison as well. They're here every day also. So again, that says something too, that that the dedication is the main thing.
And that says something to you as one of them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What does it say?
It says, I'm here.
So it can be frustrating, I know, to be asked the same thing in a number of
No.
ways, but it can be really interesting. The way
Right.
it can open some stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to, I'm trying to think of
Okay.
some other moments. I mean, I am actually, you started in 70, what'd you say, 74?
We're here? No, 82.
82, sorry.
I was 74. I was still in
No.
high school.
Well,
No, I was still in
74
grammar
we were-
school.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that
82.
yeah.
So,
Jen-
actually, one thing I'm interested in, you started at All American Jeans. Did you feel any kind of way when they decided to close All American Jeans?
No, because I was here at that
Yeah.
time, because that happened after Katrina. And that was kind of sad to see it go a little bit, because it was such a nostalgic nostalgia store, very famous. I remember the commercials and, the song "Get My Jeans at Rue" or something like that. But anyway, yeah,
All American jeans.
yeah. See,
I do remember. Um, I, however, can't sing.
I just heard you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't sing well.
Oh, okay.
Or on tune.
Right.
Um, have you seen the customers change over the years? Either the kind of customer or what they're looking, I don't mean the style they're looking for, but the way they shop. Have you seen that change over the years? Have you had to adapt the way you sell over the years?
No, I mean, my selling skills and the way I approach things are the same way. I don't see, yeah, there's still young guys come in. There's older guys that come in. Those same older guys are still coming in that were coming in when I first started. Yes, some have died, yes, but it's still the same. The same. I still get the same feeling, the same way. I sell the same way, and I appreciate the fact that they still come in. And I still reach out to them too. Now I'll call them and say, "Hey, where you been? I know where you haven't been. Where have you been? So, oh, I'm coming in. I'm coming in, Ozzie. Yeah.
That's great.
Uh-huh.
Does Wendell come in and buy from you?
Oh yeah, he was
All
he
right.
was in the store 2 weeks ago, and then 3 weeks ago. Then when his father passed, he came in, bought things from him. And then 2 weeks before that, when his father was living, they had the big thing at the D-Day Museum. They gave him an award where Tom Hanks was there, and yeah, he's a very,
Good.
very good friend of mine. Yeah.
Well, I do really appreciate your time. And if you get downstairs and you think, oh, I should have told her about this, just let
Okay.
me know I'm here.
Okay.
And I'll come back.
So maybe I should sing a tune.
Yes, please.
Okay. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it's clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, Ozzie did it his way. There you go.
Oh, that is a perfect theme.